Has anyone actually found the Elden Ring? After playing for almost 4 days, I have not only absolutely ruined my taste for other games yet again, but I've been left with no ring. Such a thing is almost mythical. It's worth stating though that rather than using rings like in previous From Software games, this time the equipable charms are limited to the title of talisman, leaving the impression that such a ring could not be worn. But the story is so vast, and people probably don't want spoilers, so I won't, nor have the time to explain it. There's so much lore in this game, it's hard to put every little story together, and there are a lot of little stories. On top of that, the main plot is told in a way so fluid you could probably drink it. No? That one didn't hit? Okay. Elden Ring is great, and as a Souls fan, the game has had more than enough content to keep me occupied. There's just a bunch of random shit that I discovered when casually walking around, and even after becoming an Elden Lord myself, I'm still finding new things when watching other people play this game. New castles, hidden dungeons, secret sections of the map, so on and so forth. It's amazing what From Software did with the RPG aspect of the world, truly allowing people to pick their own path. Along the way, I noticed a few interesting details that I'd like to highlight here. First off, Torrent has horns. I found this odd because no other horse in the game, to my recollection, has horns. Even if he is a spectral horse, that means that there is some horned horse species, right? Anyway, similar to a lot of games these days, the early stage of release has left a lot of paths and builds extremely strong. It seems like you could build anything with moderate balancing and you'd have an okay time. You could basically use what you want and still progress through the game given you can actually play. But I will say that there are some builds far easier than most, like the Intel only Kamehameha and the double katana bleed poise break, two of my favorite. In my case though, once I found my build formed around the Moonlight Greatsword, or whatever it's called, things got easier, and that was a lot easier. Lastly, what was most interesting was that the game actually did guide people through. Contrary to not really popular belief, the most efficient path wasn't always clear, but the path was given. The contrary part is that it wasn't given. It's probably because people can't read or something, I don't know. With a little exploring and lines upon lines upon lines of reading, the story told you what to do and where to go, given you talk to the right people, right NPCs and whatnot. But a lot of it was intentionally left into the mist of exploration, a finely strung story that won't allow you to gather all of the details so easily, but will always nudge you in the right direction. In final notes, the lore of this game is immense. I don't plan on playing the game outside of PvP for about a week because I don't want to further destroy my happiness in other games, but I do think I'll pick it back up in a repetitive cycle for 5 years before the release of Elden Ring 2, The Maidenless Finger. This game also isn't for everyone, which is kind of weird. This is the first From Software game that got promoted into oblivion. Souls-like games have always been a niche, but it seems like Elden Ring is different from that. The game hit the mainstream eye and it looks like FromSoft has attracted a ton of new players, breaking records with game sales. A lot of people who are new to this style of game probably had a hard time and ended up dropping it as soon as they found out about the Tree Sentinel, and others are finding a new experience that they fell in love with. Irrespective of your outcome, if you're one of those people who are new to Souls-like games, I'm putting together another video that's going over what Elden Ring is like for people who have never played a Souls-like game. So please, if you have 5 minutes to spare, fill out the Google form below. It would be much appreciated. And finally, the moment I'm sure everyone has been dying to hear, the watermelon rating for Elden Ring. I would think Elden Ring is a 4.8 out of 5 watermelons. I know I talked about mostly good things in this video, but there are a few things that this game should have had at release, and I think is not huge of a problem, but it's getting there. The frame rate for PC is still locked at 60 FPS. For what reason, I don't know. And you might think just because you can unlock it in such a simple manner that it shouldn't be at fault, but I think, and bear with me on this one, I think that maybe From Software could do it, just as a kind gesture from them. Again, because it's not a huge deal. You can unlock it, but it would be nice to have that in base game. Secondly, the game doesn't have a widescreen ratio compatibility, which is not as big as the previous problem, but I would have liked to see it in experimental standards because it's becoming a lot more popular. Not everyone is going to be able to afford a 21:9, but there are a lot of enthusiasts that also love Dark Souls. Just a thought. And then there's also slight performance issues on PC and I've heard on console because of micro stuttering and some weird glitches with torrent. Some people are attributing the micro stuttering on PC to be from the anti-cheat, which some people are saying doesn't work because there is a cheater begging from software to fix their cheat in some sort of convoluted storyline. But that is all I have for today. Thank you all so much for watching. More watermelon ratings to come, and I will see you in the next one.